Welcome to another episode of Ask the Joke Doctor. In this episode, we're going to ask the question, how do you get a job as a warm-up comedian? Hi, it's Jerry Corley, Ask the Joke Doctor, standupcomedyclinic.com with another episode. Today we're discussing warm-up comedy, how to be a warm-up comedian in this business. Now, a lot of you may be asking, what the hell is a warm-up comedian? Well, it's like this. Every show that's shot in front of a live audience, whether it's a sitcom or game show, a talk variety show, usually has a warm-up comedian present. That's somebody who's there in the audience whose job it is to keep that audience warm. You know, when shows like sitcoms, for example, when they go to commercial breaks in variety shows, when they go to changing sets or setting up sets in like variety shows like America's Got Talent or The Voice or something like that, there's going to be some downtime in production so that that audience has to stay motivated and has to stay in tune. And usually that's the job of the warm-up comedian. In a sitcom, there are set changes and there are wardrobe changes where there's some downtime in the production, and the comedian has to keep that audience active and tuned and warmed. As you guys know, probably, that laughter is a social event. We laugh more when other people in the room are laughing. So if that comedian, that warm-up comedian, does their job and keeps that audience laughing, then that audience is going to be more responsive to the lines that are in the show. And when that audience is hot, that reflects well on the TV when they're sitting at home watching that show from their living room. That laughter is more spontaneous and more active. That's going to make that viewer want to come back and see that show again. And if that happens and the numbers are up, then that show stays on the air. If that show stays on the air and you're the warm-up comedian, guess what? You keep the job. Warm-up pays pretty well. On the lowest end right now, it's about $1,000 an episode, something like that. On the high end, somewhere around $3,000. If you're really in demand, it can go up from there. But that depends from production to production and what their budget is. Don't take my words for any of this, because this can change depending on the budget, depending on the production. So, but it's still good money, and it keeps you in town. So you're able to go, like after doing warm-up, you can go downtown, you go to the comedy clubs and do a spot at the Comedy Store, the Improv, if you're in LA. Now, again, any show that has this live audience format, there usually is some sort of warm-up professional there. Either it's a comedian or sometimes they have a DJ. It depends on once again, depends on the show. Now, how do you get a job as a warm-up comedian? One of the best things to do is, first of all, create a package. You need a packet, and your packet's going to be something like, it's going to contain an EPK. An EPK is an electronic press kit. And that contains your video, your bio, your resume, high definition photo, headshot, and videos. Now those videos should be a 1-minute video, a 5-minute video, and a 30-minute video. And I usually show them with little thumbnails on the page, 1 minute, 5-minute, 30-minute, so that they can choose which one they want to see. Most of the times they only look at 1 minute, right? So show them that 1 minute. That 1 minute, if you're stellar, if it's popping, they're curious, they want to look at more to see if you can actually handle the volume of time sometimes that you have to kill as a warm-up comedian at one of these shows. And that can vary from show to show to show. Like, for example, I did warm-up for Murphy Brown, a television show called Murphy Brown on CBS, and Wings. Both of those shows were in the top 10. I did other shows, but they have very short seasons. They didn't last very long. But Wings was in the top 10, so was Murphy Brown. Now, the Murphy Brown gig I got because my dad was on the show. You know, he played Phil the bartender on Murphy Brown and was a regular on that show. I got to meet the executive producer. She found out that I did stand-up. She asked if I could do warm-up. She looked at my video. Here's the interesting thing. She saw my video, and she passed. She basically said that he's a little scatological. That's what she said. That means, scat means shit. So, meaning she thought in her view that I did too many shit jokes, and which was weird because I didn't do any. But to her, scat was any bodily fluid, and I think I did a booger joke or something like that back then. So she didn't see that as appropriate for the comedy that she wanted for her show. So what did I do? Did I go stick my head in the sand? No, I went out and I rewrote an act, and I did an act that was clean of that stuff, and I did a solid act that focused more on intelligent humor, some sort of socio-political stuff, by being very funny about it rather than attacking on it on either side. When you're doing those events, this is not the place to bring in your politics. This is the place to make these things funny. Like, for example, if we're dealing with Trump right now, right? So Trump's a big deal. He seems to be signing these executive orders in a folder that looks like it's a menu off a high-end restaurant. So it's like I might make a joke about a menu. You're ordering from the menu. She'll take the salad, the travel, a filet mignon, and a worldwide travel ban. It's something like that. And it's a very simple joke. It's not really attacking towards the administration. Something that's vague or moderate in those socio-political world. But other jokes would be about family, about kids, about business, about interaction, about relationships. Keeping the material clean. So I went out and I did a whole new act, and I came back with a new video, and I said, hey, Diane, I have a new video. And I gave her a new video. She liked what she saw, but she didn't call me until their regular warm-up couldn't make it back from a weather-related delay in a plane in St. Louis. So I wound up getting a spot to fill in as a substitute. From being a substitute, I got more chances. From that, I wound up getting the gig. Then, with the Wings thing, very interesting process, this happened. I was just at some strip mall was doing an open mic in San Fernando Valley, and I love to just go do mics. And this particular mic was for singers, not for comedians. So I asked, hey man, you guys mind if I do 5 minutes? They didn't mind at all. I went up there, did 5 minutes, clean. Afterwards, one of the singers was an actress named Crystal Bernard. Now, Crystal was on Wings, and she said, hey, do you do warm-up? And I said, well, yes, I do. So she talked to the producer, and eventually they called me, and I came in, filled in as a sub, and then I wound up taking that spot. So that's how those gigs happened. Most of the other gigs I got were by contacting the production companies once I found out they were brand new shows on the roster. So I would contact all the companies that I might fit in sort of the demo of, meaning it's a sitcom, it's middle of the road, it's not too edgy, maybe that would be for me. So I would contact that production company. So here's what you need to do. And here's how I got the gigs that I didn't get. All of these, by the way, all of these gigs I got without an agent. Okay? You don't need an agent, although an agent who has those relationships in place, you already got half the battle won, because they can make those contacts for you and set up meetings. But you don't need an agent. What I did was I contacted the production companies when I found out these shows were being purchased by a network. So that means they're getting ready to go. Usually sold off a treatment or a script. That means they haven't shot a pilot yet. So they don't have a warm-up. That's not something they consider doing until after that show's getting ready to go into production. So what you need to do is you need to subscribe to DeadlineHollywood.com, Variety.com, and also IMDbPro.com. Here's what happens. When you subscribe to DeadlineHollywood.com, they're always sending out news blasts every single moment to say, hey, so-and-so Sonar Productions just sold CBS on its blank, blank, blank sitcom. So that is a new thing. They probably might get 6 episodes. It usually will say that in that press release. Then I would contact Sonar Productions. Now, Sonar Productions, of course, for the sake of this video, is a fictional production company, so don't try to call Sonar Productions, because as far as I know, it doesn't exist. Then you go to IMDb Pro. Now, that's a subscription service. You can get IMDb, but to get the contact information for production companies, you need to be at the pro level. That's like $19 a month. You subscribe to that. That gives you access now to the contact information for Sonar Productions. You contact the production. I'd get them on the phone, talk to a production assistant or a lower-end producer, a line producer, and I would say, hey, I understand, congratulations, you guys just got greenlit. You might, if you're, are you filming in front of a live audience? If you are, I would love to put my hat in the ring. I am a warm-up comedian, and I would love to be able to have the opportunity to warm up the audience for you guys while you're shooting your shows. What is your procedure, and what do I need to do to get into the ring officially at your end? And usually they'll say, send us a link of your stuff, or send us your promo, and we'll talk to you. Then I wouldn't stop there. I'd send them on promo. I'd follow up the next day, said, sent my promo. Did you receive it? I'd follow up the next day until somebody was talking to me and we were building a relationship. While you're building that relationship with that person, find out who that person is. Am I talking to a line producer? Am I talking to an associate producer? What is their name? And then you start asking for that person by name. I would probably send them a basket or something. Thanks for taking the time to look at my video. To make it a little easier, I've sent you some microwave popcorn, whatever. You know, some kind of extra effort that separates you from the rest of the pack. Most people don't take this extra step. So when you keep that relationship up, you keep calling, polite persistence always works. So let's go back and review. You want a job as a warm-up. Find out what shows need warm-ups. Any show that shoots in front of a live audience is going to have some sort of a warm-up. Maybe even take the extra step, like if a show's already in production, take the extra step of calling the production and trying to get tickets to watch the show. Go down, watch the show, see what they're doing, go shake hands with that warm-up comedian, introduce yourself, then, ask how they got the job even. Every production is a little bit different. Some productions last 2 hours when you're up there. As a comedian, you got to be able to do 2 hours. Some last 5 hours. Now here's the key. As a warm-up comedian, you don't need to do 5 hours of material. You have to work on your crowd work. So how do you prepare for being a warm-up comedian? Well, one thing I would recommend to any comedian, no matter what, is do as much MC work as you can. A lot of comedians look down on the MC. Oh, they're the new guys. In fact, they shouldn't be the new guys. They should be guys who are skilled at wrangling an audience, if you know what I mean. I like to use that phrase, putting everybody in the soup and making it very playful so that the evening flows and everybody's laughing at each other and having a good time. So that's what good crowd work does. So when you take any MC gig you can get, you're working on your crowd work, making sure that crowd work is authentic. And that means I'll start a joke and then I'll bring somebody into the joke from the crowd rather than just say, hey, what do you do? What's your name? What do you do for a living? I'll make it more organic. Like I'll go, I have 5 kids. Do you got any kids? You have kids? How many do you have? It's like 5. What's your name, man? Ernie. Okay, Ernie, 5 kids. You have 5 as well? Wow, that's amazing. So at no point, so like me, you're like, at no point did you decide to snip it, right? So you're engaging in a conversation with one of the audience members. Now, once you mention that person's name becomes a potential callback for another part of the evening. So say you're in an evening and somebody else says, yeah, I've got some kids, as you're going through your warm-up, you can say, wow, let's go consult Ernie and see what he would do in this situation. That's just going to get a laugh because it's a callback and it's a recognition. The audience feels like they're in on an inside game. So, but really practice your crowd work, keeping that audience active and involved and warmed up and energetic and laughing. When you get that skill set, then send in your EPK, 1 minute, 5 minute, 30-minute video. Get that out there. Contact those production companies. You find out who's buying what shows are being put on the air by keeping track of them through DeadlineHollywood.com or Variety.com. Then you get IMDb Pro, and now you have the contact information for these production companies. You can then make a call. That's what I like to do, make a call, talk to somebody, build a relationship. It's all about relationship building here. It's not just one contact and you're done. Right? Anybody who thinks it's like one fleeting thing and it's over, that is not understanding how this business operates. You get in there, you build a relationship, then you can nurture that relationship by polite persistence until they feel that pressure, for you to just gotta have this guy in because he won't leave me alone. Then you get in, and because you've been doing all your practice wrangling those audiences, then you get the job, and they keep you in the job because you're good. Now, remember, I got my jobs because most of my jobs, the two big ones that lasted a long time, 7 years and 8 years, because I was a substitute. I filled in for somebody who couldn't make it. And because I was there, what Woody Allen said, 90% of success is just showing up. So because I was there, I got the gig. So getting there is, you already got the battle won, right? So make sure that you don't just take no and go bury your head in the sand. You change, you update, you upgrade, you go back, you reconnect. They're going to think miles better of you if within that 6-month period after they told you weren't ready, like they did with me, and they said he was scatological. I went out there, got a new video, and then reconnected. And they're like, wow, this guy really puts it out, does the hustle. So remember, hustle, have those connections, find out who's doing what in the production side of it through Variety.com and Deadline.com. Get IMDb Pro and find out, get the contact info for those production companies, make those phone calls, tell them you want to put your hat in the ring, but you better be ready. Make sure you're ready. Have your EPK, have your 1 minute, 5 minute, 30-minute video, and then nurture that relationship, and maybe you'll be lucky enough to be hired as a warm-up comedian. Remember, the money's good, you're in town, and it doesn't preclude you from going out on the road and doing other gigs, because usually warm-up, like for a sitcom, is 1 night a week, sometimes 2 if they want you there for the run-through, but only for maybe, if they're lucky enough, 22, 23 episodes a year. And then there's a hiatus where you can go back out on the road. But it's a way to create multiple revenue streams of good money while you're in town. So I hope you found this video informative and of value, and I hope it improves your day. If you have any questions, be sure to hit me up on Twitter with the handle @JokeDoctor and ask me the question, and then hashtag it with #AskTheJokeDoctor, and I'll put together a video like this for you. This question actually came from one of my friends at the World Series of Comedy. Her name's Stephanie Hilliard, and I got to see Stephanie host a lot of the shows at the World Series of Comedy, and boy, did she have some game at hosting. Wrangling that audience, keeping them active, keeping them interactive, keeping them laughing and smiling, and having that great energy. I think she'd make a great warm-up, and I hope this helps you, Stephanie, and I want to hear it when you get that warm-up gig yourself. So once again, everybody, I hope this helped you. And remember, fucking love comedians. So just keep out there, do the grind, push, and do the hustle. And I hope I hope you kick some ass. Take care. Once again, Jerry Corley, StandUpComedyClinic.com. Bye-bye.